to our show. Again, we're speaking with Vivian Wiley, who's just come back from Cuba and really explaining in depth the challenges that the people are facing there. Okay, before we broke, you were talking about the U.S. action in Cuba.
Yes, I was on the point of somebody having to stand up to the bully because it may look good for television, but if you have had your feet on the ground, like I have in Cuba, nobody should do what is being done to the poor of Cuba, to anybody, and say that they are human. It is inhumane what is being perpetrated against the poor of Cuba. And Mr. Trump, I don't know who his advisors are. Marco Rubio don't go and put his boots on the ground in Cuba, but they want a regime change. Regime change to what?
But let me ask you that before you go even further. How close are they to breaking? How much longer do you think Cuba could continue like this?
Forever. Cuba will not capitulate. They are ready for war, Julian. From January the 3rd, from the 4th of January, they call up their troops to the bases. They doing live fire exercises. I don't know what they talking about negotiation.
No.
Negotiation to what?
Well, listen to it, right? They're saying now that it's apparently rumors, according to these reports, that high-level discussions in Mexico, and this is from the Guardian newspaper in the UK, the high-level discussions in Mexico between the Cuban government via General Alejandro Castro Espín, son of Cuba's 94-year-old former president Raúl Castro, and U.S. officials might produce a deal, but there are no signs of progress anywhere on that right now.
Deal? Julian, the Soviet Union supports and has been supporting Cuba from Nikita Khrushchev.
Yeah, right.
That
from day one
has never wavered. The reason why the Russians got in Cuba is because the Americans miscalculated back then, and they're miscalculating now. To what will the Cuban government change?
No, we could ask a question before that. What has the Venezuelan government changed to?
Well, because the Venezuelan government has not changed.
There you go. Yeah.
They have not changed. Because Venezuela, through Citgo, was selling oil to the United States the whole time. Ain't like Trump doing something exceptional. And I don't know, people who have never been to Cuba has to realize that Cuba is an agrarian economy.
Yep, that's true. Yep. So they grow everything. They're self-sufficient.
Exactly so. You could go to Cuba, Julian, with $5 and eat for a week.
So even though there's all of this death because of the fuel crisis, generators not being able to actually function, and people are dying.
Yes.
The vast majority of the Cubans will survive, and the system will survive. And they're not going to let it drop just like that.
The system works for Cuba. You go to doctor's hospital, they tell you, emergency room visits, you need an insurance card or you need $3,000. That's what I was told. I walked out, as sick as I was.
And I think people are familiar with that. I'm surprised it's only $3,000. But anyway.
That was just for the emergency room.
Uh-huh.
What I'm saying is, Cubans get free medical attention from prenatal unto death. You can go to university or school in Cuba at any level once you qualify for free.
The 3 prongs: health, education, culture.
Exactly.
Those are the things that keep you.
Cuba is an agrarian society. There was a time when things were so bad with the embargo that Cuba called it a special period. If you drive through any part of Cuba, you know, like how we plant flowers in our yard, the Cubans plant food. If the boat don't come to Cuba with food, they still okay. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
You're saying really they ain't gonna bend or break.
break to what? Listen to what is happening. China and Russia will turn on the United States and help Cuba. In a military perspective, nuclear-powered and nuclear-armed submarines owned by the Soviet Union are ever present in Cuba. I didn't say come to visit.
Ever present.
Cuba,
Surely,
90 miles.
surely the U.S. knows that.
That's why I don't know what game they playing. They cannot have been on the ground.
They have a presence there. There's a U.S. ambassador there.
A presence, they have an ambassador, but half of their agents are brain tumors because they get nuked when they eavesdrop. That has been the cry.
I remember the Havana syndrome issue. Yes, yeah.
Okay? They know that China only want a chance. Russia has the chance, and they ain't giving that up. And they can talk all they want. Change the government of Cuba to what? How would democracy work in Cuba?
Well, it won't happen overnight.
So
it will take years and years and years, if even approached.
That is the whole issue of why I said no, the Caribbean countries are not doing enough.
What in your mind do you think that CARICOM should do? Particularly since we have benefited so much from Cuban programs. Everyone's being cautious. Everyone's being cautious, and that's understandable.
But they scared. Cautious is one thing. Scared is another thing. Either you will help me if we in a fight, or you need to go because you might get collateral damage. You have to take a stand. These people are being starved to death. Not from food, you know.
No, you're talking about a lack of
common life, simple life. Light is a serious thing, you know.
They had a setback the other day, too, with the oil refinery blowing up in Havana Bay. I saw that happen. I think an investigation is still on.
Trying to be a conspiracy theorist. Let me tell you two things that I find very, very interesting. I know the nature of submarine warfare and what they call the earthquake needs to be polished, because that is just a raw story for a person who don't understand military maneuvers. Okay?
I got you.
The second thing is, when you have a country that can help you, threatening other countries that if they help you, they can get treated like how you treated children. You can get treated bad anyway because they dissing you. They telling you if you don't do what we say, we can do it to you. So when you ever heard that story about the black man, the Jew, and the Chinese?
Go ahead. Tell me.
So the Chinese were being persecuted. And they called to the African and say, man, you all help us. You know? Africans say, man, I ain't no Chinese. So the Chinese were eliminated. Then they attack Africa. And the African called to the Jew and say, you all help us. And the Jews say, man, you all is African. These Jews. And the Africans get dominated and colonized. Then Hitler came up and attacked the Jews. And the Jews, they had nobody to help them.
I know the story in principle, yeah.
And what is happening is that Donald Trump is an old man who has been a bully all his life. I remember when Trump and Don King used to promote Mike Tyson. They got rich, and Tyson got poor. But he was the prize. Not to say I'm talking about Mike Tyson, I just showing
No,
you.
I understand what you're saying.
Showing you how can the world stand aside and look at what this man is doing? How can the Americans who have heart watch him stop the World Food Program and don't think he would crush Cuba? He has a, what they call it, urine, and he has a track record of destruction.
I'm sure you were in touch with a number of Bahamians who were also in Cuba. Now, you got out. And of course, there are some Bahamians who've been living ordinarily in Cuba. I can think of a couple of entertainers. Do you know of others who have left, or what are they doing?
The people that I'm most concerned about on two fronts. The medical students. Medical students in Cuba suffer great hardship.
We're talking about Bahamian medical students.
Bahamian medical students.
Do we know how many are there? You have any idea?
Embassy would be able to tell you, but it's
no, I don't expect you to know that offhand.
It's they're Bahamians. And with the power outages going, they can get internet. Listen, diplomacy.
At a time, there's no,
Yeah, but they at war. See, that's why I tell you, from January the 4th, Cuba,
and although real gunfire is not being exchanged per se, it's still a war atmosphere.
Where you think the gas with the others? The gas ain't going on the public bus. They ain't going to the school. It ain't going to the hospital. It's going to the military. They have fuel. But they are at war. And so, just like any other country that is at war, national defense comes first.
Absolutely.
The thing that is missing in this whole equation, it ain't about Trump, it ain't about oil, it's about suffering in the 21st century that is not necessary. They causing the children to die. They causing people to die. They causing disease for what? For what? They went to Nicaragua and to Panama and lock up Noriega. Noriega do the time and come out and still living rich. What?
He's dead now, I think, eh? In fact, he's dead now, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he came out of jail.
Yeah.
What is the end game for the United States? Fidel Castro and the poor people of Haiti, of Cuba, had a revolution. And for 67 years, Julian, that's all they know. Change to what? What is the end game that the United States, they are hurting people, bro. They in America, killing their own people in Minnesota. They shoot the woman. They shoot the man. They doing all sorts of things. Racism has shown up again. The war in Africa, all those wars in Africa over minerals.
Well, of course, yeah.
And what Trump wants to do, in my estimation, one of the first things he did when he was the President of the United States is declare the war, the Gulf of Mexico, as the Gulf of America.
I recall that.
So now the only piece what's stopping them from controlling the whole Gulf is wealth. Cuba. Yeah. And that is what his end game is. A lot of people don't understand that.
I think we got to come to an end here. What a invigorating discussion, as expected with you, Vivian Wiley. But we'll see what action CARICOM takes, other than words.
May I urge CARICOM
right there. Go ahead.
To act as though you are descendants of slaves and realize that you are free to do the right thing, not what you want to do. Do the right thing. Stop the humanitarian disaster that's going on in Haiti, because next it will be you.
You mean Cuba, though? You said Haiti, but you meant Cuba.
Sorry, in Cuba.
Haiti's a whole nother story. But anyway.
Isn't that strange that the United States doesn't have any interest in Haiti? You know why?
Of course.
You know why, Drew?
You say it, but I do. So
because Haiti ain't got nothing to get done.
It's all they wasted.
So, pardon me, stop the humanitarian disaster that is going on. It's not unfolding in Cuba, or you will be next.
Wow. Vivian, man, listen, thank you for being on the show and for giving us your experiences and opinions on what is going on there. And any Bahamians that are still in Cuba, we hope that they can get out very soon.
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Take good care. I mean, we got to say it. Because I see that big St. John's thing on you, right?
So we're here. True blend of hearts.
True blend of hearts. And the one common goal.
Yes.
Take good care. Thank you for joining us on Read Between the Lines, and we'll see you next time.